Some people just seem to effortlessly connect with others. They walk into a room, and within minutes, they're laughing and chatting with strangers like old friends. Friendships blossom around them with an ease that can feel almost magical. Then, there are the rest of us. We watch, sometimes from the sidelines, wondering how they do it. For many, forming deep, meaningful connections, or even just building a strong professional network, feels like navigating a maze without a map. It's a struggle, a puzzle, and often a source of quiet frustration. But what if there was a map? What if the ability to make friends, to influence people, and to navigate social situations with confidence wasn't some innate talent, but a skill that could be learned, practiced, and mastered? That's exactly what Dale Carnegie proposed in his timeless classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This isn't just a dusty old book. It's a practical guide, a blueprint for understanding human nature and applying fundamental techniques to deal with people more effectively. It's about building bridges, not walls, and understanding the core motivations that drive us all. Let's dive into some of these foundational principles, starting with a crucial one. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Think about it. When was the last time someone criticizing you made you feel good or want to change your behavior? More often than not, criticism, condemnation, or complaining simply puts people on the defensive. Their immediate reaction isn't to consider your point of view, but to justify their own actions, to protect their ego. It breeds resentment, not cooperation. The satisfaction of telling someone they're wrong is fleeting, a momentary ego boost that comes at a far greater cost in the long run. Before you judge, try to understand. Put yourself in their shoes. Consider their background, their pressures, their motivations. You might find there's more to their actions than meets the eye. Criticism wounds their sense of self-worth and creates an instant dislike. It's a barrier, not a bridge. Now, for a principle that might seem simple, but holds immense power. The big secret. Appreciation. Every single human being has a deep, fundamental desire to feel important, to be appreciated. It's a craving as basic as hunger or sleep. When you genuinely appreciate someone, when you acknowledge their efforts, their talents, their contributions, you tap into this profound human need. Genuine appreciation is like sunshine. It nurtures and makes people want to grow. It makes them like you, trust you, and want to work with you. But here's the key. It must be genuine. There's a world of difference between sincere appreciation and insincere flattery. Flattery is shallow. It's telling people what you think they want to hear, often with an ulterior motive. It feels fake because it is. Genuine appreciation, on the other hand, comes from the heart. It's noticing something specific and expressing honest admiration. When you say, "That was a really smart way you handled that client," or "I truly appreciate how much effort you put into this report," that's genuine. It's specific, it's honest, and it resonates. True gratitude, expressed sincerely, creates a powerful connection. It makes the other person feel valued, seen, and respected. This isn't a trick. It's about recognizing the inherent worth in others and letting them know you see it. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. This leads us directly to another powerful insight. Arouse in the other person an eager want. This principle is fundamental because it recognizes a core truth about human nature. The only way to influence someone, to get them to do something, is by understanding their desires and showing them how your suggestion helps them achieve what they already want. Every single human action, from the smallest gesture to the grandest ambition, is motivated by some desire. We don't act because of what you want. We act because of what we want. The strategy here is to shift your focus entirely. Instead of thinking about what you want to achieve from an interaction, think about what the other person wants. What are their goals, their aspirations, their needs? Once you identify those, you can frame your request, your idea, or your suggestion in a way that aligns perfectly with their existing desires. It's about showing them the benefit for them. For instance, a modern example of this can be seen in how people like Gary Vaynerchuk approach hiring. He doesn't just look at what a candidate can do for his company. He tries to understand what they want from their career, their life, and then he shows them how working with him can help them get there. It's a powerful approach because it moves beyond mere transaction to a deeper understanding of motivation. When you help others achieve their goals, you naturally achieve your own. This isn't manipulation. It's effective cooperation. In a world often driven by self-interest, offering genuinely altruistic service, even when it serves your ultimate objective, creates a distinct advantage. People gravitate towards those who appear to have their best interests at heart. They trust them, they listen to them, and they are more inclined to work with them. This principle makes you a valuable partner, not just someone making demands. Moving on to the second major section of Carnegie's work, which focuses explicitly on 6 ways to make people like you. The first principle here is incredibly straightforward, yet often overlooked. Show genuine interest. If you want to make friends quickly, if you want people to enjoy your company, stop trying to make them interested in you. Instead, become genuinely interested in them. This isn't about faking it. It's about cultivating a sincere curiosity about another person's life, their thoughts, their experiences. Think about it. Who do you prefer talking to? Someone who constantly steers the conversation back to themselves, or someone who asks thoughtful questions about your day, your hobbies, your opinions? The answer is obvious. Genuine interest is a powerful magnet. It makes others feel important, valued, and seen. It's not just about what you say, but the thoughtfulness and unselfishness of your actions. Simple things can demonstrate this. Remembering someone's birthday, even just with a quick message, shows you care. Greeting someone with enthusiasm, asking about a project they mentioned weeks ago, or following up on a personal detail they shared, these actions build connections. When you show genuine interest, you encourage others to open up. They feel comfortable around you. They start to see you not just as an acquaintance, but as someone who cares. And when you show genuine interest in others, a fascinating thing happens. They become interested in you. Moreover, when you need help or support, those you've shown genuine interest in are far more likely to reciprocate. It creates a network of mutual goodwill and support, all stemming from the simple yet profound act of truly caring about another person. It's not about being liked for what you can do, but for who you are when you engage with others. This brings us to the second principle in making people like you. Something simple, a smile. A smile is a powerful, yet often underestimated, tool in human interaction. It costs nothing, but it creates much. A genuine smile is a universal language, transmitting goodwill, warmth, and happiness. When you smile at someone, you are, in essence, telling them you are happy to see them, that you approve of them, and that you are pleased with their presence. This simple gesture makes others feel appreciated and valued. It's a nonverbal cue that instantly puts people at ease and encourages a positive response. Think about walking into a room or passing someone on the street. A person with a warm, genuine smile immediately seems more approachable, more friendly. This isn't just about making a good first impression. It's about building a foundation of positive emotion. Even over the phone, the impact of a smile is palpable. Though unseen, a smile translates into your tone of voice, making it sound more pleasant, more engaging. People can hear the difference, and it influences their perception of you. Beyond its effect on others, a smile has a profound impact on your own mood. Psychologists have found that the physical act of smiling, even when you might not initially feel like it, can actually improve your disposition. It's a feedback loop. Smiling makes you feel better, and feeling better makes you smile more. Happiness, as Carnegie points out, doesn't depend on external conditions. It comes from within. It's not what you have or who you are or where you are or what you are doing that makes people happy or unhappy. It is what you think about it. A smile is a conscious choice, an outward expression of an inner decision to be positive. If you want to feel happy, act happy, speak happy, and smile. This simple act can transform your interactions and your own emotional state. It's a small effort with enormous returns, fostering a more positive environment for everyone involved. Now, we move to a principle so vital that without it, you are almost certainly headed for trouble. Without this, you're headed for trouble. The name. A person's name is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language. It is a fundamental part of their identity, a unique identifier that sets them apart. Remembering and correctly pronouncing someone's name is a powerful way to make them feel important, respected, and truly heard. It shows that you value them enough to pay attention to this very personal detail. Conversely, forgetting or mispronouncing someone's name can create a negative impression instantly. It can make the other person feel insignificant, dismissed, or that you simply don't care enough to make the effort. Think about how you feel when someone you've met multiple times still can't remember your name, or worse, calls you by the wrong one. It's embarrassing for them and frustrating for you. Such lapses can damage rapport, hinder trust, and make future interactions awkward. Carnegie himself was diligent about remembering names, understanding that it was a key to influence and connection. Many successful leaders and influential people throughout history have shared this trait. It's not an innate talent for most, it's a developed skill that requires conscious effort. To improve your ability to remember names, you need a system. When you meet someone new, make a point of hearing their name clearly. If you didn't catch it, politely ask them to repeat it. Don't be afraid to ask how it's spelled. You can make a mental association, perhaps linking their name to someone famous or something familiar. Repeat their name in your conversation, naturally, without overdoing it. For instance, "It's nice to meet you, name," or "What do you think about that, name?" After the conversation, you might even jot it down, along with a brief note about them, to reinforce the memory. This small investment of effort pays huge dividends in building strong, lasting relationships. It shows genuine respect and attention, making the other person feel truly valued. This leads us directly to the next crucial principle for making people like you. Become a great conversationalist. Most people mistakenly believe that being a great conversationalist means being a great talker. They think it means dominating the discussion, sharing their opinions, and holding the floor. But Carnegie reveals a profound truth. The secret to being a great conversationalist is to be an interested listener. The human desire to be heard and understood is immense. When you listen intently, genuinely, and with empathy, you fulfill one of the deepest needs of another person. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you, not just waiting for their turn to speak, but genuinely absorbing your words, asking thoughtful follow-up questions, and reflecting on what you said. How did that make you feel? Valued, respected, understood? This kind of listening can soften even the most antagonistic individuals. It disarms them, because you are not debating or contradicting. You are simply allowing them to express themselves. Conversely, constantly interrupting, talking over others, or steering every topic back to yourself or your experiences is a sure way to alienate people. It signals that you value your own thoughts and feelings far more than theirs. The art of active and empathetic listening involves more than just hearing words. It means paying attention to tone, body language, and the unspoken emotions behind the message. It means encouraging others to talk about themselves and their experiences, asking open-ended questions that invite them to elaborate. For example, instead of a simple, "How was your day?" which often elicits a, "Fine, try, what was the most interesting thing that happened to you today?" Or, "Tell me about that project you're working on." When they speak, resist the urge to jump in with your own anecdotes or solutions unless specifically asked. Your role is to understand, not to advise or impress. When you allow others to talk about what truly interests them, their passions, their challenges, their triumphs, you are giving them a gift. You are validating their existence and their experiences. And here's the paradox. By being a great listener, you are perceived as a great conversationalist. People will walk away from a conversation with you feeling good about themselves, and by extension, good about you. They will remember you as someone who truly understands them, someone with whom they can connect on a deeper level. This simple shift from talking to listening transforms interactions and builds incredibly strong bonds. This brings us to the fifth principle, closely related to the previous one: how to arouse people's interest. The core idea here is succinct and powerful. To be interesting, be interested. This isn't just a clever phrase, it's a practical guide to engaging others. If you want people to find you fascinating, knowledgeable, or even just pleasant to be around, you must first show a genuine interest in them and what they care about. Consider the approach of Theodore Roosevelt, a man renowned for his wide-ranging interests and ability to connect with diverse groups of people. Before anyone came to call on him, he would often sit up late the night before, reading up on the subject in which his visitor was particularly interested. He understood that the surest way to make a good impression and encourage a meaningful exchange was to speak about things that mattered to the other person. He wasn't faking interest. He was cultivating it, making an effort to find common ground or to learn about something new. The strategy is clear. Discover what truly excites the other person, what their passions are, what their concerns are, and then discuss those topics. This requires a bit of detective work and genuine curiosity. It might involve asking thoughtful questions, observing their environment, or recalling past conversations. The key is to shift the focus from your own interests to theirs. Unless specifically asked, it's often best to keep your own cherished topics in the background. If you want to build a connection, you meet them where they are. This effort, this deliberate research into others' interests, pays immense dividends. When you speak to someone about their hobbies, their work, their children, their dreams, you are speaking directly to their heart. You are showing them that they matter, that their world is important enough for you to invest your time and attention. This creates a powerful sense of rapport and connection. It's about building bridges through shared values and interests, even if those interests weren't initially your own. By being interested, you become interesting, forging deeper, more meaningful relationships that stand the test of time. When you are genuinely interested in others, and you make them feel heard, understood, and valued, you are naturally laying the groundwork for the sixth and final principle in this section. Make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. This principle taps into one of the deepest and most fundamental human cravings, the desire to feel important. Every single person, regardless of their background, status, or achievements, harbors this innate need. It's what drives us to seek recognition, to strive for success, and to want our contributions acknowledged. When this need is met, even in small ways, it fosters immense goodwill, loyalty, and affection. The challenge lies in doing this sincerely. Flattery, as we've discussed, is cheap and easily detected. It often comes across as manipulative and can actually create distrust. Genuine appreciation, on the other hand, comes from a place of respect and honest observation. It means noticing something specific and positive about another person, their effort, their skill, their kindness, their insight, and then articulating that observation in a way that makes them feel truly seen and valued. This isn't about showering them with empty compliments. It's about recognizing their inherent worth and their specific contributions. Think about how you can apply this in everyday interactions. It could be as simple as thanking a colleague for their help on a project, specifically mentioning how their contribution made a difference. Instead of a generic, "good job," you might say, "I really appreciate how you tackled that complex data analysis. It saved us hours and made the presentation much stronger." When someone shares an idea, even if you don't fully agree, acknowledge the thought and effort behind it. That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't considered it from that angle. This validates their thinking and encourages them to share more. In a customer service scenario, making someone feel important might mean remembering their name, recalling a previous conversation, or acknowledging their loyalty. "Welcome back, Sarah. It's good to see you again. How can I help you today?" Such small gestures elevate the interaction beyond a transactional exchange. With family and friends, it's about recognizing their sacrifices, celebrating their successes, and acknowledging their unique qualities. "I really admire your patience with the kids today," or "Your advice on this matter was incredibly helpful." The ripple effect of making others feel significant is profound. When people feel important, they are more likely to be cooperative, enthusiastic, and loyal. They become more engaged in their work, more supportive in their relationships, and generally more positive in their outlook. This isn't just about making them feel good. It's about empowering them. When you genuinely lift someone up, you are also building a stronger foundation for your own relationships and influence. People are drawn to those who make them feel better about themselves. This principle is also a powerful antidote to negativity and conflict. When someone feels respected and valued, they are less likely to become defensive or aggressive. Their guard comes down, and they become more open to your ideas and suggestions. It creates an atmosphere of mutual respect and understanding where constructive dialogue can flourish. The key is consistency and authenticity. This isn't a technique to be pulled out only when you want something. It's a fundamental attitude towards human interaction. It requires a genuine belief in the worth of every individual and a willingness to express that belief openly and honestly. By consistently making others feel important, you cultivate trust, build deep rapport, and establish yourself as someone who truly understands and appreciates the human spirit. This creates a powerful, positive feedback loop, enriching not only your relationships, but also your own sense of purpose and connection. Having explored the fundamental techniques for making people like you, we now transition to the third and final section of Dale Carnegie's timeless wisdom: how to win people to your way of thinking. This part delves into the art of persuasion, not through force or manipulation, but through understanding, respect, and strategic communication. The first and perhaps most counterintuitive principle here is: the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. This isn't about being weak or avoiding conflict entirely. It's about recognizing the inherent futility and damage that comes from direct confrontation and verbal battles. When you win an argument, you often lose something far more valuable: the goodwill, respect, and potential cooperation of the other person. Even if you intellectually prove someone wrong, their pride is hurt, and they will likely resent you for it. People rarely change their minds because they were told they were wrong. They change their minds when they feel understood, and when new ideas are presented in a way that respects their intelligence. Consider a heated discussion. As soon as one person feels attacked, their defenses go up, and their ability to listen rationally diminishes. They stop hearing your points and start formulating counter-arguments. The goal shifts from finding a solution to simply winning. Instead, Carnegie suggests strategies for de-escalation. Listen patiently, acknowledge their feelings, and look for points of agreement. Find common ground before even attempting to introduce your perspective. By avoiding the argument, you preserve the relationship and create an opening for genuine dialogue. This leads directly into the second principle: show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong." The phrase "you're wrong" is a direct assault on someone's intelligence and judgment. It immediately puts them on the defensive and makes them less receptive to anything you might say next. No one likes to be told they are incorrect, even if they are. Instead of direct contradiction, Carnegie advocates for validating their perspective, even if you disagree. Phrases like, "I understand why you might see it that way," or "That's an interesting point," can acknowledge their viewpoint without endorsing it. Once you've shown respect, you can then gently introduce an alternative viewpoint. You might say, "I've also considered this from another angle, and I found that." Or, "What if we looked at it this way?" This technique presents your ideas as additional information or a different perspective rather than a direct challenge. It allows the other person to save face and makes them more open to considering what you have to say. When people feel respected, they are more willing to listen and potentially shift their own thinking. However, sometimes you are genuinely wrong. And when that happens, the third principle is powerful. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. This is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength and integrity. Admitting your mistakes disarms critics and builds immense respect. When you openly acknowledge your error, you take away the other person's weapon. They can no longer point out your mistake because you've already done it yourself. Furthermore, admitting you are wrong quickly and emphatically can often lead to a surprising outcome. The other person, seeing your humility, might actually become more understanding and less critical. They might even try to minimize your error. This act of humility not only resolves the immediate issue, but also strengthens your credibility and trustworthiness in the long run. It shows that you are fair-minded and willing to learn. Building on this foundation of respect and honesty, the fourth principle guides our approach to discussions. Begin in a friendly way. The tone you set at the beginning of any interaction, especially one where you hope to persuade, is crucial. A friendly, open, and non-confrontational approach immediately lowers defenses and creates an atmosphere conducive to cooperation. Imagine trying to convince someone of something important. If you start with accusations, demands, or a stern tone, you've already lost. Their emotional barriers will be up, and they will be resistant. But if you start with a warm greeting, a smile, and a genuine expression of your desire to work together or understand their position, you open the door to a productive conversation. A friendly beginning signals that you are not there to fight, but to collaborate. It sets a positive emotional framework that makes the other person more receptive to your ideas and more willing to engage constructively. Finally, the fifth principle offers a brilliant tactic for gaining agreement. Get the other person saying, "Yes, yes," immediately. This technique, sometimes called the Socratic method, involves asking a series of questions that the other person can only answer with a yes. Start with points of agreement, simple truths that no one can dispute. As they repeatedly say yes, they build a psychological momentum towards agreement. Each yes makes it harder for them to say no to your ultimate proposition. It aligns their thinking with yours, even on small points, and creates a positive current of affirmation. By the time you introduce your main idea, they are already in a yes mindset, making them far more likely to agree. This isn't about trickery. It's about guiding the conversation logically and emotionally towards a shared understanding. By following these principles, you learn to navigate disagreements, build bridges, and ultimately, win people to your way of thinking, not by force, but by genuine understanding and respect.